Awesome. Okay, here we go. The recording has started. Welcome to our wildlife photography expert lesson. I'm super excited to be here. My name is Deneen Diamond. I'm here for the Center of Excellence for Health. We are so excited to have students here. We have students from Superior Middle School, Bathurst. Give me a wave. Woo woo! Awesome. And I see another teacher. I don't know where you guys are from, but I believe Mr. or Mrs. Desjardins. I don't see where you're from. If you can put that in the chat, we certainly will say hello. And if you want to put your camera on, you can as well. But we're so excited to be here. I'm really excited and thrilled to partner with Nathan Robinson and the Department of Tourism and offer this free live class with an expert. Oh, there is Miss Mallette. Welcome. And you have students coming, I'm assuming. Here they come. There they are. All right. Excellent. Well, we will just give them a minute to get settled. If the students want to wave, you certainly can wave. Hello. We are going to get started. Like I said, I am thrilled to partner with Nathan Robinson and the Department of Tourism. And here at the Department of Education. We are thankful and blessed to present Nathan Robinson, who is a New Brunswick wildlife photographer expert. He's here to share his passion and his excitement about photography, and we hope that you get excited about being out in nature and the importance of actually looking at what you're passionate about and putting it into your work. So that's the goal today, is to find out a little bit about Nathan, where he came from, and why he's doing what he does. And I'm super excited that he has a beautiful moose behind him, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what he does. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Nathan Robinson. There's the students that want to wave. Hello. And I will hand it over to you, Nathan.
Hey guys, first and foremost, just really like to say thank you for joining us today. I know most of New Brunswick just got through a couple bad snowstorms, and that kind of threw a wrench into to a lot of plans. But anyway, here we are. Again, so thank you, and thank you for NB Tourism and the province of New Brunswick and everyone involved with it. I'm honored to be able to share a little bit about what I do and how I do it, why I do it, and so let's get started. First off, I will show you, if you can see, there's a bull moose up here. He kind of he's the reason why I do what well, not the reason, but one of the main reasons why I do what I do. I'm passionate about moose hunting, and I'm an avid outdoorsman. I love to fish, and in 2015, I was selected in our moose draw to go on a moose hunt, and in northern New Brunswick, I was successful and harvest this beautiful 50-inch bull. And it was after that I decided to grab a camera to take pictures while I'm out fishing and hunting with my buddies. And so here we are. So I've got V actually doing the PowerPoint for me. So V, go ahead to the first slide. So a little bit of who I am. Like I said, my name is Nathan Robinson. I now live in Fredericton, New Brunswick, but I was born in northern New Brunswick in a little town called Perth Andover. And I am married, got a beautiful wife who supports this crazy wildlife journey I'm on 110%. Without her, I certainly couldn't do what I do. And we don't have any kids, but we do have a domestic cat named Leia. So next slide, please. So what I do, I am a professional photographer. I don't consider myself a professional, but I guess people consider me one. So anyways, that's the title you get with. And I am a part of, I've been doing this for 7 or 8 years now. Like I said, I harvested my moose in 2015, and it was about 2016, the winter of 2016, when I really took this adventure on. A couple of years ago, I did get contacted by Clay and Tanya Harrison at Long Lake Adventures, who have an sporting outfitter lodge in north central New Brunswick, about an hour outside northeast of Plastrock. And so they actually approached me and asked me to be part of their team and come up and enjoy the beautiful wilderness up there, and where I could just basically explore and encounter wildlife and capture the beauty of our province. So that's been a true honor to be a part of. And about a year after that, actually, Acadian Timber, who is they basically operate and control 750,000 acres of land in that Long Lake Plastrock area, and they actually then contacted me and seen the work that I had been doing on their property, and asked if I would want to kind of team up with them and take some images for them, and in return I would offer them content for their social media and whatnot, and they would basically give me access to all of their land, which some of it is gated, so which is great for what I do, because it offers me the ability to go in and photograph not only moose but other wildlife in other areas of the province that very few people get to explore or even see. So truly honored and blessed to have that opportunity. Besides the photography gig, I do have a full-time job in the automotive industry, and I do work at Price Auto Sales here in Fredericton. So I'm a pretty busy boy, but I enjoy what I do, and I'm very fortunate to have the opportunities to do what I do. So next slide, please. So here's a video clip of basically what I do when I'm out filming moose.
Teachers, you may have to turn your volume up.
On our way in the vehicle, on the way into our spot, and we spotted this young cow here, and I don't know, she keeps looking back in the woods. There might be some more moose with her, I'm not sure, but yeah, she's just kind of hanging out. So some beautiful fog going on right now, really heavy frost, beautiful morning. I'm gonna walk in just a little bit and see if there's something else with her here. So we'll go see.
Thank you. Hope you guys enjoyed that video and it worked all right for you. So here's that video is basically basically what I enjoy doing in the woods. My passion is moose, but not only moose. I enjoy all wildlife. I just truly enjoy being out in nature, and I'm going to show you a few images that I've captured in the past. This was actually a red fox I captured on a walk with my wife, not right downtown Fredericton, but pretty close to Fredericton where we live. And I was right on one of the MB walking trails. One thing I do is I never leave my camera home. Even if we're just going out for a short walk, I always take it because you really never know where wildlife is gonna show up, and they can show up in the most unexpected places. It's unreal. Next slide. So this is our black bear. Hopefully some of you have had the opportunity to see some bears around New Brunswick. We do have a lot of them, and found this guy. Actually, I was out in the morning filming some moose, and I was walking back to the vehicle and noticed this nice bear just feeding away on some leaves and some grass, and you can see actually he's got some grass hanging out of his mouth there. And what I like to do when I'm a photographer is, especially if the animal doesn't know I'm there, I just wait. I wait for them to do something. He was actually kind of down in the grass, and all I could see was kind of his back and stuff. So what bears will tend to do is once they catch sense of you, when they smell you or they hear you, a lot of times if they're down in bushes like that, they will stand up to get a better view. And that's kind of what I counted on. And once he stood up, I fired away a couple shots, and that's one of them that come out. So that was kind of a really cool encounter. And next slide, please. And this is just kind of an example of something that anybody can photograph. Little birds, songbirds like this. Not only these guys, but blue jays, robins, and there's birds everywhere. You can just walk downtown Fredericton and see birds flying around. And so these guys make for they're actually kind of hard to photograph because they do move around a lot. They're very quick. They're challenging and a lot of fun to shoot. So next slide. Here's a cow moose and her calf. This was photographed 3 years ago, I believe. In the spring or early summer, I like to go sit around water, and once the bugs come out, it draws the moose into the water areas. Especially when it gets warm, they go into the water to cool down, and not only they'll actually lay right down in the water to get some relief from all of the bugs that are just swarming them for all day long. Like, it's unbelievable. So anyways, that's a great area in the summer to find moose. So basically I'll go to these water areas and I'll just sit and wait. And luckily this cow come out, and with the calf right on her heels, and they jumped in the water to my right and swam across and then walked right down the shoreline that I was sitting on. So that was just another one of those amazing encounters that happens when you're just out in the wilderness. Next slide, please. This is a bull moose from northern New Brunswick. This was actually photographed on Acadian timber 2 falls ago. We named him Big Al. We found him one evening. He actually had four cows with him, and it was during breeding season. And it was almost dark, so I didn't get any photos, but I was able to. One of my friends, one of the head guides, his name is actually Alan, and he kind of told me if he wasn't in this area that he might be in this area. And Alan was right. I moved around a bit and I found him. He wasn't with the cows anymore, but I get to spend some time with him. And so in turn, I named him Big Al. And actually, I was lucky enough to encounter him 5 times in the span of about 7 or 8 days, and got to spend a lot of time with him. I got to watch him feed and kind of just do what a moose does. And so So, and I got some great images and great video of this beautiful bull. So next slide. This is another nice bull, another nice, beautiful New Brunswick bull. Actually followed him into some softwood, and I figured he was going in to bed down for the afternoon, but it was thought it was kind of a cool image. He knew I was there, but he wasn't really paying attention to me. He was kind of looking out into his wilderness and his world, and I was just kind of following along behind him. Next slide. And this is a calf from last fall. And the reason why I shared this image is it's kind of unique because you can actually tell that it's a male calf. If you look closely to the just above the eye sockets, you can actually see the humps on his head, where this young bull calf has. I don't know the exact science, but definitely he will have horns next year. But where it's his first year, I don't know if there's actually something growing under there, or it's just part of the skull kind of developing. That's actually something I kind of have to take time to look into, but it's kind of unique. In the fall, when you do see the calves, you can tell if it's a male or female, which is very interesting, because you kind of, as a wildlife enthusiast, I keep track of my moose encounters, and it's always unique for me to see what the male to female ratio is in certain areas, and it's just part of, I guess, figuring out moose, trying to learn about them more, I guess. And next slide. So here we're going to jump back into my photography journey. Like I said before, it started out with me photographing and filming moose and other wildlife. And that same winter that I started to do that, the board of directors of one of the fishing tournaments here in New Brunswick, the NBSFA, contacted me, and they were wondering if I would be if they could hire me to photograph their events. So I said sure, yeah, I don't mind. Put a few dollars in my pocket and help pay for my days in the woods, right? So anyways, that started, I think will be my 8th year shooting bass events. But that's kind of what really get the ball rolling. And I realized, you know what, maybe I can maybe I'm making a little bit of money at this. And so there's one of the images I captured. This was actually of an event out of Nakawik this spring. And next slide, please. And so here's another image I captured of 2 gentlemen from down around the St. John area. They actually won this event, and we just happened to be on them when they caught one of their biggest fish. And I think this was up between the Woodstock and Heartland area where they located this bass. And these fishing events are smallmouth bass events. I do the Striper Cup up in Miramichi too as well, and hoping to get into some salmon fishing in the near future too. So from the bass fishing, that kind of got me thinking, yeah, like I can probably make some money, and maybe I'll start trying out some portrait, maybe some wedding stuff, and see where that goes, because there's good money in the wedding genre of photography. So anyway, from that, the next slide, I started doing some portrait stuff. I was lucky enough to get some shoots with actually Miss New Brunswick winners each year. I did this for 3 or 4 years. I haven't done it since the pandemic, but hopefully now that that's settled down, that I get these opportunities again. So this is actually Miss New Brunswick from 2018, Joelle Kavanaugh from Grand Falls. So usually each fall I would they have their pageant in August, I believe, and then each fall I would do like an outdoor portrait shoot with them, which was always a lot of fun. And so next slide, please. This is just an example of one of the grad photos I did. Did quite a bit of that in the past few years. Unfortunately, with the wildlife stuff, I don't have time to do this stuff anymore. for certain people, I will, I guess, if I can find the time, but everything else is so busy with my full-time work and stuff. Everything's kind of progressed to that wildlife stuff. Next slide. So of course from that, I did some sports stuff. Here's a goaltender that I shot. I've done multiple sporting events, from basketball to hockey to football to anything I could get my hands on. I would do it for free. I would do it if people wanted to pay me. I just wanted to photograph. And next slide. And this is snowmobile drag racing, actually. That's something else I really enjoy is motorsports. I did some stock car stuff, lots of snowmobile stuff, a few dirt bike racing events as well. But then again, it was all about just getting out there, trying different genres of photography and really trying to find my passion. Next slide. So this is something else I started and kind of unique to our province. I became a licensed guide for the New Brunswick, for province of New Brunswick last year, and I decided to start guiding people, to take people out to show them moose mainly. I really try to focus around moose. That's my passion, and I know a lot of people really gravitate towards moose. So I just put it out there last year, and I was expecting to have maybe 2 or 3 clients, and in the course of the summer and the fall, I had 11 clients. So there's just a couple images. We had 100% success rate. It was all done up on the Acadia timber, and I had people. There was one gentleman that came from Dubai who was originally from New Brunswick, but was home on vacation, and he's a photographer like myself, and just wanted to photograph moose. I had 2 elderly ladies from Florida who had never seen a moose, so they contacted me, and so that was a real treat for me, to actually take somebody out who hasn't seen a moose or seen that type of wildlife, and they actually get to experience that. We seen 6 moose that evening, and honestly, they didn't say much. They were speechless. I just remember them. They were just they were just like this, like they were really honestly speechless. They didn't know what to say, and that's part of the joy that I get out of the wildlife photography is I get to experience and encounter so many amazing things that it was a real joy to take people out and have them experience that same thing that I get to experience so much. Next slide, please. So why I do this? I believe that as wildlife photographers, we are blessed with an ability to capture animals and nature in a way to showcase it to others. There's a lot of people that don't have the opportunities. They don't have the time to go out. There's people that move away from New Brunswick that I know that follow my work, and they move away. They live maybe in Texas or somewhere, and they enjoy seeing images from home, from New Brunswick. So I believe as a photographer, it's a really unique, and I'm honored to be able to do that, to share and to showcase what we have, and especially to showcase what we have in New Brunswick, because I feel like sometimes maybe New Brunswick is underappreciated for what we really truly have, and it's been a lot of fun really bringing what we have back to the forefront and showcasing that. And so anyways, on to the next point here. And I love the challenge of finding and then there's the challenge of taking, well, sometimes you find an image, create a beautiful image. there's many times that I find animals and I don't even take a photo because I don't have that light. It's just, and then I'm just there for the encounter. I'm just there for the experience. So when you're able to find an animal, you get the great light and you put it all together. It's just like pow. It's like awesome. That's the challenge. That's the fun. It doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's like, yeah, it's like it's an adrenaline rush. And again, I enjoy the challenge of finding the animals, which I just kind of mentioned. The encounters, which I kind of mentioned, they are heart pounding. I guess I can't explain what it's like to be close to bears, what it's like to be close to large mammals like moose. But when they are, and there are times when they're matters of feet from you and they're there for, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and you're crouched down and your legs are falling asleep and your heart is just pounding. That's probably what really makes me tick, and that's why I do what I do. There has been times when I've walked away from a situation and it's late fall and it's maybe -5 and I'm literally a ball of sweat. It's been such a rush. Like it's really hard to explain, but it's if anybody's been close to a moose or a bear or even a deer or anything, when they don't know you were there, there's something special about that. And it's so unique and so cool to actually be in an animal's environment and watch them do what they do and have them either they tolerate you or accept you into their environment. And it's a pretty amazing thing. And I guess that leads on to the next point where it's so rewarding. What I do is so rewarding, and I'm very blessed to have the opportunities that I do. And then again, there's something special about being out in nature. Anybody that spends any time at all in nature, whether it's fishing, whether it's just biking, whether it's snowshoeing, whatever, there's just something about being in nature. And I just yeah, when I think about it, I'm almost speechless sometimes. So next slide. So here's a little bit about how to maybe learn about photography. This was kind of my path, the path I took. You don't actually have to follow this path, but it did work for me. I know it's kind of worked for others. But anyways, I basically started out with YouTube. I've spent hours and hours and hours hammering YouTube and found some good YouTube channels that they seemed to know what they were talking about. And tried to learn my camera gear, tried to figure things out. And if I couldn't, I would go back to YouTube and or just Google search, and that would always, I've learned more off of YouTube than anybody, or maybe even myself being out, just trial and error. Another great thing is to meet other photographers, because you will learn from them and they will learn from you. And not only that, you're gonna meet some really interesting, unique, and make some great friends. It's a really cool community. Even whether or not, if I'm a wildlife photographer and you're a wedding photographer, you still have something in common, because whether it doesn't matter what genre you shoot, there's a lot of similarities to it. So there's something always to talk about. There's similarities, whether if I'm shooting someone on a grad shoot, there's things that I deal with when I'm shooting a white-tailed deer or a bear or something. There's a lot of technical aspects that you can learn from each genre. Another great thing to do is join a photo club. I know here in Fredericton, there's I think it's called Photo Fredericton. I've met some of those people, and they're great people, and the photography community loves to teach and loves to share. And if they don't love to do that, well, those aren't the people. Those aren't the photographers you want to associate with. There's many other people out there that would just love to help you. Don't be afraid to make mistakes and challenge yourself. You're you're gonna mess up. I still miss shots all the time. Maybe I'm probably at a ratio that every 100 images, I don't even know if 10% would ever actually pan out. But the more images you take, the better ratio you'll get, the more images that will turn out. And just challenge yourself. If somebody asks you to do some family photos for them, if you are getting into photography and you've never done that, well, don't charge them anything. Just go out and say, yeah, I'll do it. I'll try it. You're not going to learn if you don't try. And I really believe that if I would have just stuck with photography 7 or 8 years ago, I wouldn't be where, and it's not like I'm anything special or great, but I wouldn't be at the level I am today if I hadn't pushed myself to photograph anything and everything, and every opportunity I got, I just grabbed onto and went after it. So yeah, and another reason why that's good is my next point is you will develop your passion. I thought that maybe I had the idea of making money at this someday, and I thought that weddings was the avenue to go. Well, I found out really quick after doing about 15 to 20 weddings that I still hated doing weddings, and I will never like doing weddings. so it's not my gig, it's not my passion, and my passion shows through my wildlife projects. So that's really what I'm chasing after now. Next slide. A little bit about camera gear. I'm sure probably most of you have an iPhone. So if you're thinking about getting into photography, don't go out and buy a great big camera. Take that iPhone and start shooting with that iPhone, because some amazing images have been captured with iPhones. They have great lenses on them now. I actually use my iPhone for a lot of when I'm out in the woods. I've got my bigger lens on. Here's a shot of my wildlife camera. I've got that, and I used to carry another camera with a wide angle lens, and a wide angle lens is what your iPhone has. So to save space and weight for me, I just started shooting with my simple iPhone, and it takes great images. A big portion of creating a good image is lighting. Lighting is so key, and your composition, your angles, and your framing, and that can all be accomplished and learned with an iPhone. If so, I'm a firm believer that if you can't take a good image with an iPhone, you will never take a good image with a $10,000 or $20,000 big camera. There's no way around it. You have to understand the basics of taking a good picture. So again, start out with your iPhone and go from there. Another cool tool to get is a GoPro. A lot of people would know what a GoPro is, and probably a lot of you maybe even have one. They're a great, you can take images with them, but they're great for taking video, just some short stories, showing little videos of you out in nature. Some people will just set them up and do like a time lapse of sunsets and sunrises and stuff. So they're a really unique tool to have. And then there's your main camera, and that you can start. I just started out with a simple Rebel Canon camera that cost me, I think I bought that with a kit lens. It was like $400 or $500. That's what I started out with, and then you just upgrade from there. So that's a little bit about camera gear. Your next slide. So I'm going to share with you a story here before we wrap up. I think time's kind of, yep. This is a black bear den. As you can see, this big tree, hollowed out, broken off tree. Last spring, I was out in my kayak, kayaking through some flooded timber in the Jimsag area, which is just south of Fredericton. And I come across this big tree and looked up at the top, and I just seen two little black ears sticking up out of the top of it. First, I thought it was a raccoon. And then I got looking at it and watching it. And then all of a sudden, a little head popped up and it was a cub bear. So my first thought was, okay, this is a den. And I was like, where's mom? Because female bears with cubs, if there's anything that you're going to be scared of in the New Brunswick woods, is that's what you got to be not scared of, but aware of. They are very protective, and if you see a female bear, which is called a sow, and she has cubs, just, you don't have to run away, but if they don't know you're there, make sure they know you're there by just saying, hey bear, and just slowly walk away. Put distance between you and them. 9 times out of 10, they're going to see you before you see them, and you're just going to see the backs of them running down the trail or the road or the field, wherever you are. So don't be afraid to go out in the woods because of these bears, but just be aware of them and give them their space. So back to my story. Next slide, please. So back to my story. This little guy was the guy that I seen the first day, and he kind of hung out up there for 10 or 15 minutes, and then he kind of went back down into the tree, and you could actually hear him crawl back down into the tree. So meantime, I'm still worried about mom, and my guess was that there was dry land about a half kilometer away, and she was actually swimming to land feeding, and then she would eventually come back to the cubs and take care of them. And so the next day I took a waypoint and on my GPS, and the next day I returned. And the next slide. And that's when mom showed up. She was in there. So after a couple hours sitting, I could actually hear her coming up through the base of this tree. And I didn't know if it was the cub or not. And but eventually she popped her head out and she gave me a quick look over and hung out for maybe 5 minutes or so. She was concerned of my presence. I was a little bit worried if she might come down and get in the water, which would make for some great images and video. But thankfully, she just kind of hung out and went back down with her cubs. Next slide, please. So that's another shot of the sow, the mother bear. And beautiful bear, not a large bear, but probably a couple years old for sure. Next slide. Another shot of her. And yeah, we can go to the next slide. Yeah, so this was the third day I went, and one of the little cubs, he come out, and it was early morning, and as you can see, he literally fell asleep in the sunlight while I was there, and which was made for some pretty cool images to capture. And they are so cute. And next slide. And then eventually his den mate come up, so there was 2, and which was even better. So yeah, they come up and hung out for, I don't know, it seemed like a long time, but it was probably only 15-20 minutes. Again, it was a very unique experience. I did go back the 4th. This was the 3rd day I was there. I went back the 4th and 5th day, but the water level. So what happens is the water floods from the St. John River, in this area of timber floods every spring. So the water level had been receding quite a bit, and there was probably only about a foot of water when I got there the 4th and 5th day, and the bears weren't there anymore. So I figured mom had probably taken the bears and got them to the shore, and they were just wandering in the woods. And normally that's what'll happen. The bears will take them, or the moms will take them out. And next slide.
Nathan, I'm just being mindful of time. It's 11:10.
Yep.
So hopefully we're wrapping up so the kids can have a time for some questions.
Yep, this is my last slide.
Perfect.
Yep, okay. So a few tips. Spend time in nature, create your own luck. It's not going to happen every day. There's many days that I don't see anything in the woods, but there's a lot of days that I see a lot. So just keep at it, be persistent, be patient, and create your own luck by continually going out. The morning and the evening are your most active times for wildlife. And it's also the morning and the evening is your best light. During the day, when the sun's high, you get a lot of bad shadows and stuff, and it's very hard to capture nice light for beautiful images. Another thing is to study your subject. If you want to photograph bears, go on Google and learn about bears. Learn where they live, learn where they hibernate, learn where they hide, what they like to eat, and that'll help you a lot in finding any animals. Again, learn from others, and every hour, just remember this, every hour without an encounter, you're 1 hour closer to that epic encounter. And that's what I always tell myself when I'm out in the woods. If I'm having a rough day, I'm just like, a lot can happen in 2 or 3 minutes. So that's my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully somebody has some interesting questions for me.
Thank you so much, Nathan. That was lovely. I know that I learned a lot about photography, and I was sharing with Nathan this morning my passion for photography, but I use my little old cell phone. So I'm happy that that's the way that I should be doing that first off, and looking at sunsets and nature, and trying to get outside as much as often as I can. But you hit so many major points that we want the students to really be aware of, is that if you're sitting there in class right now and you're thinking, I have really no idea what I want to do when I grow up, well, you need to tap into what your passion is and what you're excited about. And you heard Nathan talk about his love for being in nature and looking at the animals, and really taking the time to watch. And that takes a lot of patience. I know I'm not a very patient person. And Nathan talked about, just really leaning into that and knowing that that good moment is coming. So I will open the floor to questions, but I do want to say thank you to Nathan, and I hope that the students that are watching really start thinking about what it is that they love to do and tap into that, because that's the purpose of these sessions, is to really think about, what do I love? What do I think I can do for the rest of my life? Because work should be enjoyable. And that's our goal here at the Center of Excellence for Health, is to make sure that you're healthy with your career pathway choice. So I'll open up the floor. Does anybody have any good questions for Nathan about wildlife or being in nature or anything at all? And we'd love for a student to put their hand up and come to the camera. You guys could be a star for a minute. It would be awesome. I am sure that somebody will come to the camera. Oh, I see somebody.
So how can you identify the animals that you can find? Like, let's say like I find a moose and like it's a specific moose I don't know. Like, how can I identify it just by looking at it without knowing what it is?
Great question.
Are you asking like to identify as like an individual moose? If you see the moose today and you see it tomorrow, if you're wondering if it's the same moose?
Kind of. It's like I would want to know like what type of like breed or like animal type of moose it is, or I was just using moose. So.
Okay. If it's a moose, all of the moose in New Brunswick are the same species. So a moose is a moose in New Brunswick. So it's a deer is a deer. So basically, they're not, unless you're getting into something like maybe ducks or birds, then there's a lot of different species of that animal. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for the question. We have another question here from Ms. DesRoche's class.
Why do you think the bear was up in the tree?
The bears were up in the tree because the sow bear, she used it as a den. So she would have went into this hollowed out tree in like, not this time of year, but like maybe like October, November. And then while she's in the den, she actually has, while she's hibernating and sleeping, she actually will give birth to the 2 cubs. And then what happened was, and then they never left the den in time. So the mom basically had to wait until either her cubs were ready to leave the den or the water was low enough for her to take the cubs out of the den. So they basically spent the whole winter in this tree.
Thank you.
No problem.
Awesome, thank you. I'm just being mindful of time, and it is about 45 minutes in. I know students are probably getting antsy, they're sitting in their chairs, but I do want to say thank you again. And teachers, if you're listening, the recording will be placed on the Center of Excellence website if you want to pass that along to some other teachers if they want to watch it later. And certainly, if any of the students have questions for Nathan specifically, and they wanted to, dive deeper into photography, please reach out to the Center of Excellence for Health. The link in the website is in the chat, and we'd love to set you up maybe for a conversation with Nathan, because he's very happy to, I guess, showcase the work that he does, but also get people involved, like you heard him say. So without further ado, I want to say thank you so much. Really appreciate all the students being on. Can I get one last wave? Just because I don't get this, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! I love it. Look at the energy. Thank you so much. I see people standing and waving. I love the energy. Yes. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day. Signing off from the Center of Excellence for Health. And have a lovely time. And get outside.